So my friends and I were just talking about how the higher up someone is at a company, organization, whatever, the lower the standards are for them. Obviously, this isn't like 100% of companies and organizations. Some actually do it right and hold everyone to the same standard. And even some companies hold the higher up people to a higher standard because they're paid more. But I just had the perfect example of this. So back when I was in college, I worked for a sports team. I'm not going to say which one, but I worked for this team for a few years as a student worker. And during my time there, the guy who was the highest up on the team on the business side, okay, so this wasn't like the head coach. This was the guy that was like in charge of like the business side of the team. He did not know how to use Microsoft Word. Part of my duties were like administrative duties. So like I worked at the front desk and like answered phone. And this guy would handwrite his notes during all of his meetings, which is like fine. But he would come to me after the meeting, give me the handwritten notes. I would type them up in the computer into Microsoft Word. And I would set it in 30-point font because he refused to wear his reading glasses. And then I would email him his notes. He would then print up the notes. He would make annotations to them or like edits to them, which usually were like one or two like punctuation edits. And then he would bring that physical printed copy back to me. Then I would make the edits in my computer. Then I would email it back to him. When the more logical thing to do would be to just ask me to type up his notes. I would type up his notes, I would email it to him, and then he would add in like the 2 or 3 punctuation edits on his end. But he did not know how to use Microsoft Word. Anyways, I wouldn't really have an issue with this except for the fact that for me to qualify for my student worker job and for anyone to even qualify for like a student like volunteer position, they would have to be proficient in Microsoft Word. Actually, I think I'm pretty correct in saying that for you to qualify for any internship when you're in college, you probably have to be proficient in Microsoft Word. This guy would have probably he wouldn't have qualified for an internship, you guys. An unpaid internship. So yeah, all in all, the standards that people at the bottom are held to are way higher than the people at the top sometimes, and it's really unfair. Oh, also, before I leave, I want to note really quick. I've come to realize that in my 2 years of practicing as a lawyer, the standards are held pretty across the board in my industry, so I'm very, very lucky in that. But that doesn't mean that everyone else is that lucky. We've literally all had jobs, I'm sure, where the people high up were not held to the same standard as you, and that's pretty messed up.